Hello, my name is David Wolowidnyk, and thank you for tuning into the BC Liquor Store YouTube channel. I am an award-winning bartender, a spirit educator, and the resident cocktail stylist of Taste Magazine. Well, 2021 marks the 100th anniversary of the BC Liquor Stores, and to celebrate, each of the preceding decades have been represented by a classic cocktail in the magazine. Next up, the Gin Martini. We're going back to the 1950s for this one. Not that the cocktail came from the 1950s, but it was certainly popular then. You see, business executives of the day would go out for these long, leisurely martini lunches. The cocktail itself actually dates back to the 1800s and has changed a little bit since then. The first order of business is actually to get this martini glass into the freezer. You see, no one wants to drink a warm martini, and the best way to keep it cold is to have a cold glass to pour it into. That room temperature glass will only serve to steal thermal energy from the drink you've just chilled. As I said, the cocktail itself dates back to the 1800s and was a little different. In the 1800s, it was called a dry martini because it had equal parts of dry vermouth and gin. Today, that terminology has reversed, and if you order a dry martini, it will mean less vermouth, not more. Over time, there's also the use of vodka as an optional spirit. If you choose to use vodka, I would say the Belvedere vodka is a really nice approach because the rye base adds a bit of a spicy character. The gin we'll use today is the Bombay Sapphire, a wonderful, balanced blend of 10 botanicals. Also botanically rich is the Noilly Prat Extra Dry Vermouth. Now, vermouth is a fortified wine. Being that it's a wine, as soon as you open it, it will start to slightly oxidize. Best to keep it in the refrigerator to slow down that oxidation. If you leave it outside of the refrigerator, it will oxidize rather quickly and change the flavor profile so that it's no longer fresh. Back in the 1800s, you would sometimes see a bar spoon of Curacao and the addition of orange bitters. Well, today we'll omit the dry Curacao, but we will use a dash of the orange bitters. That orange bitters helps to pull back on the subtle sweetness that the vermouth adds. Well, with no further ado, let's mix up a martini. We'll start by using the Bombay Sapphire gin and measuring 60 mils or 2 fluid ounces. Next up, the Noilly Prat Extra Dry Vermouth. Not a lot of this one, just 15 mils or half of a fluid ounce. And just 1 single dash of orange bitters. I've decided today to use the Angostura orange bitters because you can readily find this in places. If you can find another orange bitters that you enjoy, feel free to use that instead. I've also got some ice on the side here. Add that to the mixing glass. And as you can see here, I've added just enough ice where all of it will come in contact with the gin and the vermouth and the bitters. If ice comes up too high, it will just circle around that mixing glass and melt down the sides, diluting the drink before it's fully chilled. I'm also using a fancy bar spoon. If you don't have one, don't rush out and get one. Instead, if you have a chopstick at home, that works quite well also, as you can see. Sometimes people ask me, how long do you stir a martini for? And depending on the alcohol percentage in that gin and how much vermouth you're adding, I would say anywhere between 40 to 60 seconds. You'll know as you start to see the frost appear on the outside of the mixing glass that you're getting close. If you wish, you could also give it a little taste before you pour it into a glass to make sure it's reached both the chill and the dilution that you're looking for. I think mine's getting pretty close here. Let's fetch that martini glass. as you can see there, it didn't take long to take on a nice frosty appearance to that martini glass. Another little stir. And let's strain this cocktail. One thing to mention is that I'm stirring this martini rather than shaking it. You see, to stir a martini, it will maintain the beautiful, silky, rich texture of the spirit. If you shake it or pour it from great height, it will aerate the martini. The aeration will change the texture of that spirit, and in doing so, will slightly change the perception of flavor. To garnish, classically, you could use an olive or a twist or an onion. Today, I'm going to use a green olive. Make that 2. We'll place that right in there. But I also love the freshness of a lemon zest. In fact, I often like using both the olive for its salty, briny character and also the lemon zest as well. Now, this tool that I'm about to use is called a channel knife. If you don't have one, again, don't rush out and get one. You could just take a slice of the lemon peel, preferably with little to no pith, and express those oils. But with this channel knife, I can take it and over the surface of the drink, cascade a few of those lemon oils, and even down in the glass beneath. You see, once it's on the glass, as you pick up that martini glass, it gets onto your fingers, and that lemon oil just kind of involves you a little bit more with the cocktail. Now, I want to trim off that pith off the back side of that lemon zest. So by taking a sharp knife and placing it flat on your cutting board, I'll slice a clean edge off, and I will slowly wiggle my knife back and forth, being very careful, and I will be able to take off this pith in one piece. Now I'll take a chopstick and I'll twirl it around that chopstick like so. Take it off, give it a tiny little squeeze, and into the martini glass it goes. And that, my friends, is a beautiful gin martini using Bombay Sapphire, Norley Pratt Extra Dry Vermouth, and a light little dash of the Angostura bitters. Don't forget to hit subscribe below to tune into more of these fantastic videos, and we'll see you soon.